Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all so much for your patience with us this morning. We had just a minor technical glitch. Anytime you try something new, you always have to plan for something to go wrong, but I think we've fixed it all. And so this morning we have one camera coming to you on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube. So no more of that, like me looking back and forth. So we're testing it today. Thank you so much for your patience this morning as we navigated all those complexities. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Greta. Good morning, Judy. Good morning, Jana. Good morning, Melissa. I noticed you've been hanging out with us for a long time. Good morning, and thank you so much for your patience. We are going to start every live as we do every week. Okay, so I'm going to be repeating. My technical folks are bouncing around behind the camera. So we are now on Instagram through StreamYard. So if you are joining us on Instagram, be sure to accept those that release so you can comment and we can see it and our team can answer all your questions as we go. So we're going to start every live as we do with some questions that you guys have submitted. And so I'm so excited. I saw Jana Elliott's name because Jana, you are our first question this week. Thank you so much for submitting. Jana lives in San Francisco. So I'm hoping it's a beautiful, lovely late fall morning for you this morning. And Jana's question is, other than basic square and rectangular rulers, are there any specialty rulers that you think every quilter should have? Okay, so this is a fun question. So rulers are expensive. I don't know if you guys have been out in quilt shops lately, but I feel like there's a ruler for every possible shape that you could possibly dream about cutting. And so I'm an engineer. I'm a pretty basics kind of gal. I love having square and rectangular rulers. And I like getting rulers that have more than one purpose. So I don't typically like to buy those one ruler, one pattern type of things. I think for me, the dog ear clipper ruler, which for those of you that got our gift countdown was included, that cuts off little corners of the triangles. I love those. I can use those whenever I'm sewing triangles together. There's no measurements on it. It's purely just a tool to help me rapid cut through those corners. I think those tools are very useful. I am also a big fan of having a right triangle ruler. I make a lot of half square triangles, just like we die cut here in the shop. And so I like having that right square triangle. And for me, I like using the grid on the cutting mat a lot. So I use that if I have like a 60 degree. I have that if I need to cut a special like 45 degree anything. I like mathing. It's kind of a quilter kind of curse. I like mathing. I like using my rulers. So I'm not using my rulers on a traditional mat. I am not a specialty ruler. I think I've used the curved rulers. But again, it's one curved ruler anytime I sew curves, which isn't very often, but I clean out my rulers. I get a lot over time and I just clean them out as I go. They're expensive, guys. And I know quilting can be an expensive craft. And when it comes to how I spend my money, I choose not to do the like one ruler, one project. I like to have rulers that are a little bit more utilitarian than that. So that's just me. If you have a different approach, definitely put it in the comments. But dog ears, anything that's a right triangle and a curved ruler. I think with that, I've pretty much got everything I need. I know that you can get all the other items, but that's for me. Okay, then our second question comes to us from Whitney Farida from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Good morning, Whitney. Thank you so much for your question. Why do they call it stitch in the ditch, and how do you do it well? Okay, so stitching in the ditch. So this was something I learned 20, 30, 40 years ago. So to stitch in the ditch means that when you're quilting your quilt top, so when you're adding the top to the batting to the back, to stitch in the ditch is the quilting where you follow your sewn seams. So you're literally taking your needle and you're quilting your fabric together along every seam that you have stitched together. So you're stitching in the ditch. This is a fantastic beginner quilting technique. If you are quilting your first quilt and you want to do it on your own, stitch in the ditch is an easy, fantastic way to finish your project. And so you're literally just stitching down the lines of your quilts, and it's very easy. It's very straight. You can use a walking foot, and it's very, very successful. for me, that's how I quilted all my quilts until about 4 or 5 years ago. And then I got really crazy and decided I wasn't going to quilt a quilt by stitching in the ditch. And so I went a 1/4 inch off the ditch, and that's how I quilted that quilt. And it was great, and it was fine, and it was fantastic. I like straight lines. I'm an engineer. I like when things kind of work out. The concept of a free motion quilt, I will eventually work myself up to. But stitching in the ditch is a great beginner way to finish those quilts, especially if you get those, and I'm sure this has never happened to anyone, but they call and like, hey, I got a friend of a friend of a friend who's having a baby. Can you make them a quilt in a week? Stitch in the ditch. Like if you want to just get it done, stitch in the ditch is definitely the way to go. And so to do it well, it's literally just making sure that you keep your needle in those sewn seams, and away you go. Good morning. Jana. Okay, so this is fun. Jana put a comment, Jana Elliott. She stitches in the neighborhood since she struggles to stitch in the ditch. I feel that, Jana. Every now and then you get to a corner and you never really know what to do. The beauty of it is if you can't see it as you're racing by on a horse, then it's perfect as is. So I love those questions. Thank you, guys. If you want to submit a question for a future live for me to answer, go to cottoncuts.com/live. Our team goes through them every week, and we pick some of the fun ones and share them with you here. So stay to the end of this week's show because we are going to be hosting a giveaway like we do every week. And so this week, we're actually going to be giving away a January Classic box, a shipment of our January Classic fabrics. So we just packed those and shipped those yesterday, so it's super fresh on everyone's mind. But our Classic box is your choice of 6 fat quarters or 6 half yards or 12 fat quarters of fabric with a pattern from our featured designer of that month. And so you go online, you answer a short survey, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, and we curate a different collection of fabric for you each month. So stay to the end of this video and you'll get notifications on how to win this amazing membership. All right, so what happened this week? So obviously we shipped our Classic boxes. We also have been cutting off all these beautiful Tree of Life fabrics. Our team is getting very familiar with all these fabrics that we have. And so they are so amazing and so beautiful in person. If you guys haven't had a chance to check them out online, you definitely should. We're going to start posting photos of the fabrics as well, so you can actually see them. They are more vibrant and beautiful in person than they even are online. We've been cutting oops kits, and so I have a whole stack of oops kits here with me now. This is actually from our Jubilee collection, and so there is one of each of the 6 fabrics in this stack. It is beautiful. They are amazing. You guys can definitely go online. Paula will be taking photos of all of them. We are super excited about Tree of Life. It is definitely not too late to join this collection and check out all those photos. If there's one that you're waffling about, I know there were some folks talking about it in the chat earlier, definitely look at the photos and you'll be awesomely convinced. Okay, so big announcement. So next week, starting on December 26th, we are starting our Fabric Enthusiast Appreciation Event. And so we do this every year. We always start the day after Christmas and go through New Year's Eve. And every day it's all about showing our love and appreciation for all of our enthusiasts and all of our detectives. And so every day there's going to be something new and something awesome that we are going to be sharing with you guys. For example, the first day, it's going to be 15% off every off the bolt fabric in our shop. You have to come back every day. We're going to be doing a live. I will have both of my children with me. You will get to see Lincoln and Dominic, and I have no doubt they will have some dad level potty humor joke to share with us that'll get us all giggling at 9:30 in the morning. We are also going to be having a puzzle that we're going to host on our website. So think a memory game or a crossword or a Wordle, something to just warm the brain up that week. And if you successfully complete the puzzle, you will get a coupon for 5% off any purchase, or $5 off any purchase in our shop that day. It's going to be just tons of fun. There's going to be a party. And on New Year's Eve, when we do that live broadcast, we will have a ginormous new product announcement. The whole set's going to be changed. We're going to come in on the Sunday and we're going to do a live. and it is going to be amazing and nostalgic, and you guys are definitely going to want to play along. When you see the live videos and when you see our posts on social media, if you answer a question that we have that day, we're going to pick one person on multiple platforms to get $25 gift card, because it's all about you guys next week. We do this every year. It's something that I hold near and dear, and we are just really we're amplifying it this year because it's important and awesome. So definitely check us. We will have this extended segment next Thursday. We're going to be talking all about gnomes, and we will have a special guest joining us, but you are going to want to check your email and check us out on social every day next week. All right, so enough about that. So let's get to the topic that we all came here to talk about. So one of the questions that we get the most frequently about our Puzzle Mystery Quilt is, how do we select the colorways? And when we were talking about this, I was like, that would be a fantastic conversation to have during a live and kind of give everyone the background of what goes on behind the curtain. So how do we pick the colorways for our mystery? So Tree of Life has 16 different colorways. How did we get there? So the actual timeline starts 9 to 12 months ago. These colorways are a long time in the making. And so Sheila Christensen is the actual mastermind behind the design of the quilt. She's the one that comes up with the design and then breaks it up into its pieces and writes the directions for us. We then pick out the fabrics that we think will work with the Puzzle Mystery Quilt. And so as sales reps come into the shop and start showing us fabrics that are going to be released 6, 9, 12 months in the future, we're scoping them and we're looking at colorways that'll be strong fits for the Puzzle Mystery Quilt. So there's a couple things that make a good Puzzle Mystery Quilt colorway. And so it has to have fabrics at the right scale. So when we send these triangles, strips, and squares, if we have a really big graphic Tula pink dinosaur and we try and die cut that into a 3 7/8 triangle, sometimes you're going to get an eyeball. Sometimes you're going to get a claw. Sometimes you're going to get a tail. And it won't be the same every time because the scale is too big. So when we look for fabrics, it has to be at the right scale. So that way, every triangle you put in your quilt looks like it's designed to be there. We also can't use fabrics that are too directional, right? Because of the way we're mass die cutting these, if we've got lines and we cut that triangle, it's going to be a little off sometimes. And so it has to be at the right kind of geometry to do what we need to do. Then we also have to look for collections that have enough contrast. And so I know that when I'm designing my own quilts, sometimes I get fabrics that aren't the right level of contrast. And so one of the beauties of the PMQ is we've looked at all of that and made sure that certain design features pop and that nothing blends too closely together and leads to kind of a mashed up kind of quilt. So all of that goes into our colorway selections. And one of the biggest pieces we have to look at is, when is the fabric set to ship from the manufacturer to us? So we get requests all the time. Hey, can you use this collection? Hey, can you use this collection? Hey, have you looked at this designer? And what happens is, if the fabric ships too early or too late, we cannot offer it for Puzzle Mystery Quilt. So we have to balance all of those things when we're looking at colorways. Is it going to ship in the right time? Does it have the right mix of colors? Is it the right scale? And does it have any directional prints? And so as we see the sales reps, we create this whole list for Sheila. And then Sheila mocks up all these colorways in her computer software. And she can create 35, 40, 50 different, yes, Greta. So I'm going to take a pause real quick. So to answer Greta's question, so unfortunately there will not be a Roar colorway. As much as it breaks my heart, that collection is just not going to work for die cutting with, like I said, the big giant dinosaur and then the landscapes of dinosaur, because if you get land that's purple and sky that's yellow, you're not going to be very happy. Okay, so Sheila mocks up between 35 and 40 different designs because we find that many collections that we like. And then I take the finished quilts and I lay them out all side by side. And I look to make sure that they're different from each other. The last thing we want to do is get two colorways that are too close, and then it gets hard for you guys to decide what you want. And so I look at the actual finished quilt. That's what I start from when I'm picking the final colorways, because I want them to be something that will create a very different quilt. And if you've seen the reveals before, the colorways look so different from each other, and that is a success. We want to make sure that we're creating distinctly different quilts versus slight modifications of each quilt. Once I take those 30 and 40 and bring them down to about 20, so I have to cut them in about half, then I look at the actual swatches of fabric next to each other. And so I want to do that so I can see what you're going to be seeing when you go to the website and pick a colorway, because I want to make sure that this color wheel that you're looking at is actually representative to the final quilt. And we've had that sometimes where I've looked at a color wheel and I'm like, someone's going to buy this and not like the finished quilt because it doesn't connect. And so it's important for me to make sure that when you're selecting the colorway, you are happy with the quilt you get. And so I've eliminated a couple different colorways that way. And then I get to start the fun process of finding these fabrics. And so I get to contact the manufacturers and the sales reps and spend hours on the phone and making sure that they can actually get us all the fabric we need to include as many detectives as possible in the mystery. That is always our success. I never want to have a fabric where only 10, 15, 20 people can participate. I want as many people to participate in the mystery quilt as possible. And so I need to make sure that the supply chain on fabric is as good as possible. Now, what's happened with the past couple designs is that we've actually found late-breaking collections where we've been looking and we're like, guys, it's missing something. There's a note that's not here that we're not seeing. And so we've been fortunate enough to be able to add some colorways at the end. And we're like, okay, then we all take a breath and we're like, okay, now the palette is complete. We feel like we're going to be sending out colorways that will make as many people as possible happy. And that's really our goal with the program. And so yes, Melissa, there is a lot here, right? It's not just, hey, we like this and hey, we like that. There's a lot that goes into this process. And the little piece as well at the end is we're always taking feedback from our detectives. And so it's one of those, I heard, for example, this most recent time that someone wanted some pink and yellow. And so we found a pink and yellow collection because someone asked for it. And so we like also hearing those suggestions. We're also looking at trends. And so if I see a trend like, hey guys, country blue and yellow is coming back, which it is. I'm not lying when I say that. We should find a country blue and yellow quilt. Or, hey guys, I'm seeing trends over here in this colorway. Let's go find something. So there's a lot that goes into each different colorway. We also look at how the last signups went. So we looked at Village Green and we looked at Carnival and we're like, what did people really like about those to kind of come in and inform Tree of Life colorways? To answer Jana's question, so we look at kind of, I look at the fabrics and I'm like, okay, do I think that this one is going to be what we call an average quilt? And so I look at kind of the average number of signups and I buy enough fabric for an average quilt. Do I know, based upon our experience, that this is a jewel tone, it's a purple batik, it is going to be a lot? Then I 1.5 times that quantity. When I look at the fabrics, I'm like, oh, this is a basic. This is a reorderable. I can order this forever. I typically order a little less of that one because I know I can get more of that fabric at a moment's notice. And there's no need to buy too much. Let's buy what we need and then buy more as we want to. So it depends on how sure I am of how much more fabric I can get. And it also depends on how popular I think the colorway is. So when you see things sell out quickly, it means either I ordered all the fabric we can possibly get and it's already signed up completely, or we sold all the fabric we bought and I need to go figure out how to get more fabric. So that's all the factors that go into selling out the colorways. It's popularity and also the amount of fabric that we have in the shop. Okay, so that's how we pick the colorways and that's how we get the late entrants. And, you know, we're always taking feedback and we're always soliciting ideas. And so what we would like to do is in order to be entered to get that classic box that I talked about at the beginning of the video, I would love it if you commented on whatever platform you're on and told us what your favorite color combinations are. What are things that you like to see together? I'm always interested to see people seeing things. The pink and yellow was new for me. I know I'd seen a couple of things online with that, but I liked hearing that from folks. So go ahead and comment to be entered to win that classic box. What are your favorite color combinations? As we're sourcing fabric for the next mystery quilt, what are some things that you want to see? Feel free to answer those questions and comment wherever you are. Now, there is a super important piece of business that we have to get to. And so a couple weeks, we started talking about our Tree of Life mystery and the Cotton Cuts community tree. And we sent fabric out to like 1,200 people. And we asked you to draw your leaf, write your name on it, write your location, and send it back to us. And we would draw it live. And so I actually have a cookie jar. We're going to call this the Cotton Cuts Community Tree Cookie Jar. And inside of it, we have all the leaves that are arrived over the past week. And just so you guys, as a quick reminder, you're going to be receiving in the mail little squares of fabric like so. Trace out your leaf. You can use one of the templates we've given you, or you can totally get creative. This is a do you type of thing. Put your name on it. Make sure you're putting your name on the color side of the fabric. This side's the adhesive. So this is actually what we're going to use to glue it onto the tree that'll live behind me in the coming weeks. But go ahead and put your name and location on the front of the leaf, and then we'll draw it live. And so we have about, I think we've gotten like 25 in this first week, which is fantastic given how it's holiday mail out and holiday mail coming back. Not surprising, the locations are Missouri and Illinois, super close to us in St. Louis, so not surprising at all. But we're going to draw one leaf. And this person, this lucky detective, is going to win a super fun prize pack from us. And so the winner is Tammy Edwards from O'Fallon, Missouri. Thank you, Tammy, for submitting this leaf. Look how cute this is, everybody. Like this cute little gray leaf. It is awesome. Thank you so much, Tammy, for sending in your leaf. We're going to be ironing these onto our tree over the next week. And then we'll do a drawing again, and we will give away a free prize. So let me check to make sure my list. I think mercifully, we've gone through all of it. I am so excited. It is crazy. You will see us every day next week, starting on Monday at 9:30. And you'll see my kids. We'll have lots of fun. Those are going to be shorter lives, and it'll just be kind of whatever my kids decide to say to you. So I would definitely tune in. Seeing children on live television is always fun. Let me see. I'm getting a note. I almost forgot the most important part. So this Fabric Enthusiast event every day. There's going to be giveaways on the website. There'll be giveaways on social media. If you participate every day with one of our posts, you will be entered to win a 6-month membership of your choice. So that could be classic, it could be modern maker, it could be a credit towards the PMQ, which then makes that 4 months instead of 10. So definitely, I mean, it's really easy, guys. Just show up every day, answer questions, watch our stuff, and you will be entered. We're just going to give away a ton of stuff next week. So with all of that, thank you all so much. I will see you on Tuesday at 9:30, and everyone have a fantastic holiday weekend if you celebrate this weekend, and we will talk soon. Bye, everyone.